Now that the Equilibrius test is over and I've had some time to gather my thoughts, let's talk about Perfect New World. A few things before we start. I spent about 15 hours playing the game. Would have loved to spend more time, but life got in the way. Also, it is still an early beta test, so a lot of things can and will change before release. Things like optimization, for example. So a lot of the crashes and frame drops will get fixed, I hope. UI changes to have fewer clicks and access upgrades and pets and mounts is needed. Tons of story stuff still needs to be filled in. Localization, voiceover, and sound effects needs to be fixed. Lots of work to do, but I'm 100% certain they're working on it, so no need to judge too harshly on that. The combat system still needs a ton of work to make it more satisfying and smoother. Currently, it's a good start, but I feel the iframes doesn't seem to be working, or maybe just not in place at all. Animation cancels needs to be more reliable and predictable, which will make dodging and combos more streamlined. More combo variety and skill chain effects will be good too, so it will be more rewarding for chaining all the combos together, which will also create more skill rotation options. Currently, there are no downed, air attack, or back attack effects, and very few status effects. Suffice to say, the game is still rough around the edges, but there seems to be something shiny hidden inside. Whether it's a diamond or glass remains to be seen. There's obviously a huge amount of anticipation for the game. The original Perfect World, both in China and internationally, was a fairly successful MMO and is still around today. Not many games have longevity like Perfect World International, and the name is obviously widely recognized. Ever since Perfect New World was officially announced back in 2021, there was a lot of interest. According to this article here, development of the game started all the way back in 2016, costing around 300 million yuan, which is about 42 million US dollars at the time of the article back in 2021. Some rudimentary calculation puts us at around $10 million a year for development cost, and would put us at around $60 to $70 million today. Now, comparing to juggernauts like Star Wars: The Old Republic, which costed $200 million, or Genshin Impact, which costed $100 million to develop initially, it's not over the top, but it sure as hell ain't cheap. 8 years in development, though, is a bit worrying, as long development times could be a sign of development hell, or maybe in this case they're just taking their time to get it right, or at least we can hope. Who is this guy on the stage? He is the CEO of Perfect World, the publisher, and Perfect World Games, Mr. Lu. He joined Perfect World in 2004 and has been there ever since. He did help with the original Perfect World and Perfect World International and many games in between. He is also completely in charge of Perfect New World. Other than the amazing white sneakers he is sporting in the video, he also announced 2 new products in the investor press conference, Perfect New World and Perfect New World. Okay, let me explain. The first Perfect New World is the MMORPG we're talking about right now. He even called it the Perfect New World in English during the press conference.
第一款产品, Perfect New World.
The game was originally intended for consoles and PC, also coming to the Western market first, Chinese market second. The console idea was later ditched according to this article here. There's another game called Perfect New World, specifically for mobile. The mobile game is completely different. It looks nothing like the PC game. The mobile version is developed in Unreal 4 by a different studio and has a more generic fantasy theme which looked quite a bit like Black Desert Online. During the press conference, Mr. Lu mentioned one of the selling points is the uniqueness of the NPCs. How each and every NPC is different, have different lives and do different things, have different logic. The other thing he mentioned, which I'm not too sure about, is that players can create duplicates of the player characters and integrate them into the world. No idea how that'll work. All that is to say is the PC version of Perfect New World is for PC only, and there will not be a mobile port of that game.
2005年11月20日。
Some other stuff I gather from the press conference is the attitude the company has towards Perfect New World. Bearing the legacy of the original game as well as the company name, they know the importance of not fucking it up. For the original Perfect World, they wanted to develop a grand Chinese mythology-based MMO for the world, hoping to bring Chinese culture to the world, which according to dollar figures, they have done so quite successfully. With Perfect New World, Mr. Liu said they wanted to bring the game to the next level, aiming to close the gap between Chinese developed games and Western AAA games from top studios.
我们希望通过这份挑战呢，拉近我们与世界顶级标准的这个距离。
Which in my mind explains the heavy investment into the story component of the game. Perhaps trying to make a blend between a AAA title and an MMO, which in my humble opinion sounds like a good idea until you start thinking about how the details will work.
在海外市场的影响力。
Let's talk about Iron Core Game Studio, the studio behind Perfect New World. We, or at least I, know next to nothing about Iron Core Game Studio. Not sure why the obfuscation, but it wouldn't be unheard of to keep things secret until the dev or publisher deem they are ready. What we can glean from the press conference is that this is a Western studio, or at least based in the West. Don't know where exactly. CEO Liu said the studio, and I quote, has an initial team of industry veterans with over 15 years of experience on average and have worked together for more than 10 years.
为此，我们采用了这个国外顶尖的团队的人员配置啊，不仅有平均从业15年啊，合作时间超过了10年的端游初创团队啊，更有许多来自国际一线厂商的开发者和资深的这个艺术顾问。
I guess they've worked together for 10 plus years at another studio, and Perfect World just decides to buy the entire team for their project. And just because the dev team is outside China doesn't mean they won't produce a game that is heavily influenced by the Asian pay-to-win sensibilities, since Perfect World, the publisher, is paying their salaries. And he also said they have hired many developers from AAA game studios around the world, and as well as veteran art directors for Perfect New World. All seems to be good news, and continuing the trend of Chinese game publisher hiring and building their studios overseas. The only question is how much influence will the corporate overlords in China have over the developers? Until the game comes out, we probably won't know. Now let's talk money or business model. Dollar bills, y'all. Mr. Liu seemed to place Perfect New World as the top of the line game for them, making it the best game they had to offer. And they hope to popularize Chinese culture and mythology again around the world, and not just to make money.
我们希望完美世界这个 IP 呢，能够在全球更多的地区、更多的平台上持续的发展。所以在传承这个大世界观的前提下，我们还对剧情进行了更多的探索和丰富，让故事能够得以更深入人心和传播的更加的广泛。这个来自于全球市场的全新挑战，我们希望能够给市场和用户交出一份满意的答案。
Mr. Liu does seem to have a vision for the game, but Metzen, he is not. We know the game will be free to play, there will be a battle pass system which is already in place in the beta, but the price is unknown. I'm thinking probably around 25 bucks or so for a season. Then of course we have costumes and cosmetic items. I'm not sure about the pricing, but probably anywhere between $5 for a single piece of cosmetics and up to 20 to 30 bucks for a premium set of costumes. Wings, though, will be more expensive. If I remember correctly, in the original game, the most premium wings are 30 bucks or so at the time. I can't remember exactly. I would imagine wings will be a big seller, so they probably want to milk that as much as possible. I think the intended audience for the game is a lot of returning players from Perfect World International or the original Perfect World, at least at first anyway. Those players are probably a little bit older like me, between 30 to 40 years old. These players don't have as much time to play as when they were playing the original. Probably have a job at this point, a family, children maybe, and other responsibilities, which reduces the amount of time they have to play. And as these players probably have more disposable income than time, I would imagine pay to skip or ease of life items will be extremely popular. Things like inventory spaces, faster and better gathering tools, instant fast travels, and the most important thing I think will be the ability to exchange cash for in-game currency. Basically think the Guild Wars 2 model. Personally, I don't think that's pay to win. You may disagree, but let me explain. I believe the ability to exchange in-game currency with cash gives all players options. It gives access to cash shop items that are otherwise inaccessible to players who are unwilling or couldn't afford to spend real money, and gives those who have more money than time the ability to catch up and support the game at the same time. And it's not buying power directly, as in they're not buying straight up more powerful items. They still have to go through the same process, albeit a little bit more conveniently. I'd love to hear your opinion on the matter. Now, if they start selling more powerful items in the cash shop, then we will talk about it again. So far, from what I can see, it's entirely cosmetics for clothing, pets, and wings. All the pets and wings seem to have the same speed, at least for now. I'm not sure about loot box mechanics because in Chinese culture, gambling is very much frowned upon, which may be one good thing for us. The other big ticket item in my mind is character slots, which I would hate to be only sold in cash shops, because I honestly feel that actually impedes gameplay in a huge way for free players. What if the free player wants to try a new class? What if they want to make a new character to play with their friends? What if they want to make a new crafting alt? What if they just need to create a mule to carry more stuff? Currently in beta there are only 3 slots for 4 available character classes, which means I can't play all the classes without buying at least 1 character slot. That just doesn't sit right with me, to be honest. They could implement a loyalty system like Black Desert Online, where you get a certain amount of loyalty tokens which can be exchanged for some convenience items like character slots, experience boost, and upgrade items, albeit at a much slower rate than paying. I feel like that could be a good way to help the free players out a bit. And also the ability to exchange premium currency with in-game currency helps to alleviate that problem as well. They may just choose one or the other, probably not both. The outlook for the game, in my opinion, is cautiously optimistic. The game's far from being perfect. However, the attitude and goal towards making the best possible game to help bring Chinese culture, Chinese mythology to the world is a generally admirable one. How or if they can pull that off remains to be seen. But if what they say is true, there's more motivation in it than just to make enough money to buy the next yacht. It may be a good thing. Another item of concern is the relationship between a publicly traded company and its investors. We've seen many cases where a well-respected gaming company makes amazing games, gets bought up by a publicly traded company, and then starts spitting out shit games to cash in on their good name. Sorry about that. In an effort to make the most amount of money possible in the shortest amount of time possible without thinking about the long-term consequences. Perfect World Company is publicly traded, but mainly in China, which may result in a different relationship between the investor and the company. Instead of in North America where it is profit at any cost, maybe in China there's more of a culture of investing and saving for the future. And this game is a huge investment for the future of not only the Perfect World, the publisher, and also the Perfect World game's intellectual property, but also in a way the popularity of Chinese culture and Chinese-inspired fantasy. To say there's some pressure is an understatement. I hope the game turns out well. The game will not be perfect and it won't be for everyone. But having more competition in the space forces company to make a better game to compete, and that is a win for us, the consumers. I look forward to playing more of the game. Did you get a chance to play? Do you have an opinion on the game? Are you looking forward to the game? Let me know in the comments down below. And see you next time. Bye!